Council. My name is Justin Alness. I'm a collaborative health and human service student at CSUMB in Monterey. I live on 6th Street in Washington, the corner street at the end of the bridge to White House. My concern is the amount of excessive speeding that's been going on. A lot of people have been running the stop signs. I try not to, put my nose in anybody's business. I understand people have concerns, emergencies that come up, but for the same amount of people to continually run the stop signs is starting to become a concern for me. I have a 8-year-old daughter, and I out in the yard, and I do a lot of yard work, and it's a bit frustrating when you can't do nothing about it. So I would like to know maybe what we could do to proceed with maybe putting a removable speed bump on Washington. I know that in the past they had put 2 stop signs at the top of 7th Street in Washington to reduce the speeding. But it's I don't know if they run the stop signs up there. My concern's on 6th Street in Washington, and yeah, that's my comments.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I live near that location, and it's my experience that they run the stop signs if they don't see anybody coming out of the side of their eyes.
Yeah.
And it's also my observation that they are local residents who live further up the street. Do you recognize any of these people?
I don't know any of them by name. I recognize the vehicles. It's a range in demographic from young individuals to older individuals or parents. I see some of them at school when I'm picking up my daughter. And I was encouraged to come to the meeting tonight by staff member Rudy. And what I had asked is maybe if we could get a sheriff across parallel from my house out of the view of the stop sign to maybe be a deterrent. And I understand there's other concerns of the community, and they don't have the time to sit there and wait for people to roll the stop sign. But it's just starting to be upsetting and a big concern for me.
Next question, is there any particular time, because like at 4th and Monterey, we observed that it's usually between about 3 and 4, and we know who the people are. They're coming home from work, and it's always the same people. And so we asked the sheriff to sit there several times, and he has issued some tickets, but if he can narrow it down, kind of watch and see, okay, most of them are between 9 and 10 or whatever it is, we might be able to get him to spend an hour there, at that time.
That would be great. There definitely are specific times where it's more frequent, and you'll definitely catch some people rolling the stop sign and going by in the evening when students are out of school and when people are out of work.
Yeah.
Later on in the evening too, it gets kind of progressive with the people who live further up the street from me. They realize that not a lot of people are going to be out in the street, so it's they increase their speeds at that time as well later on in the evening. But that would be great, and I really appreciate it. But that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell me, if you know who these people are, could you get a list to the sheriff's office through the city manager?
Oh,
because I was going to suggest that he take pictures and get the license plate, and then the sheriff can run the place and we can identify these people and maybe have a talk with them.
Well, their excuse, the sheriff says, we have to see it, We can't do anything if we don't see it.
They can talk.
And I can tell you, the other place that they run the stop sign all the time is coming out of Lang Court onto Washington Street. Bob and I sit there and we just watch him go through. It's just like it's not even there. So there is one particular car that if I can get his license plate number, I will be more than happy to turn him in.
Maybe we could have the city manager write a letter, and if it keeps going on, then
water bill.
Something can be done. I can write a letter to DMV and ask that they be re-examined for their license. Do that.
Speed bumps that'll slow down through traffic, but not at an intersection. You could have raised, crosswalk.
Should we add this as an agenda item then?
Yeah,
Because I don't think this is,
Yeah.
We're just listening.
Yeah, let's agendize this.
Put on the agenda.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, any other comments?
Valerie?
Yes, and on behalf of the last speaker, I noticed that when you have those speed indicators, that flashes that you're going 25 miles an hour, whatever, when those are present on the street, it's like there's a sense of Big Brother's watching me, and maybe if you put one on those streets occasionally, that it may say, hey, they're watching.
high score.
There's something going on here. They're watching the streets. So, just a suggestion. I am here to talk on behalf of the Repair Our Roads, Yes on Measure P committee. And there seems to be some confusion in the air about what exactly P is about. And so the committee agreed that I could or should get up at City Council and speak a minute. The Measure P was placed on the June primary election after approval of the City Council, the Council of Governments, and approved by the Board of Supervisors. And it is in response to our need for repairing roads and safety conditions and transit. So the big pressure from the state of California about safe roads and bicycle pedestrian, those are things that the county has no money to provide. But also the funds that we have coming into the San Benito County government doesn't allow for the budget to repair the roads. So I wanted to encourage the public and the council members. I know we've got a COG member there and here and committee members. And however, there's something about bringing it up to the public and to just say that we need to support this measure in order to improve our roads. One thing that Anthony has talked about, Botello, our supervisor, is the fact that there's only one crew for roads in San Benito County. And that's why grass isn't mowed on time, ditches are not prepared before rainy seasons, holes are not filled in the pavement, much less creating a better road surface anywhere. And so if with Measure P we have more funds, then we'll be able to hire people back and create a better situation on the roads. The Measure P is a 0.5% sales tax, which puts it even across the board. And what? It's for a 30-year period. Half of it will go toward 25 improvements. And unless we bring that kind of money to Caltrans, they will not move on any improvements. The Santa Clara County is improving up to our county line, and that's it. So all the counties around us have transportation taxes on their ballots as well. So our sales tax will continue to be lower than the counties around us, even after everyone raises their taxes. So it's a matter of we're not the only ones. It's not a matter that our board of supervisors or COG has been inept in the way it handles money. It's a matter that the money that is allocated through the board of supervisors with county funds is insufficient. Those funds will continue to be allocated for roads, so this money will not take that away. It will not. We will not, or they will not be solely dependent on that 0.5%. That 0.5% will attack the problems we have continuing on top of the funds that we already get out of regular funding. So I think those are some of the concerns that I've heard from people, and I'm going to leave some propaganda, some information, so that people can take as they leave at the back desk. Any question? Yes.
The one thing that I see the comments about 25, and what people don't understand is 25 is a state highway,
Right.
but they flat refuse to spend any money on 25 as far as improving it, widening it, whatever. So if the county as a whole wants to improve 25, we're going to have to do it. And I see this comment, oh, it's a state highway. Caltrans is not going to take care of it, period.
Close it.
And,
But they will do the work.
huh?
No,
They will do.
Yeah, but if we pay for
they'll
it,
hire somebody to do the work.
they'll hire somebody. They'll hire
Somebody
Payvex
competent.
or somebody else. But
I thought
Caltrans itself will not put any money towards 25.
But they are going up to the county line with Santa Clara County, correct?
That's probably funded through Santa Clara. though.
You know, VTA is coming in, but that's a whole nother ballgame. They have a lot of money.
They have a lot of money, right. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any speakers first or this item? Anybody else want to speak to a subject that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on. Consent items, does anybody want to pull anything? Okay, I
Move
want
to
to pull
approve.
the minutes, I and J, both of them. Any others?
Get,
What do you want to pull?
no.
Okay, so
Sorry.
we need a motion.
I'll
to
make a
approve.
motion for approved
A
consent
through H.
items.
Second.
Separate polling I and J.
Okay, moved and seconded?
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarita,
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
Okay. I is the February minutes, and 1B says roll call present Mayor Lund, Vice Mayor Edge. That needs to be changed, and it's the same change for the March minutes. Otherwise, I didn't see anything wrong with the minutes. It's just cut and paste.
Wanted to make sure his paycheck was bigger than
When you make as much money as
when you make.
Here's the
Well,
big
mayor
bucks.
gets the big bucks.
Yeah.
big bucks. Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve those two with the changes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarita,
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move action item 6A up to the next item, and then we'll continue with the rest of the agenda. And I forget, do I need a motion from the council to do that? Yes, okay.
I'll make a motion for 680 report.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor? Roll call, I'm sorry. Of course it had that.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bach,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarita,
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
Okay, great. Roger, do you want to introduce this, or should we just have Kevin come up and?
I know I had it here.
What's that?
This
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Kevin O'Neill. I am the Emergency Services Manager for San Bernardino County Office of Emergency Services. So this item is in regards to the 2015 Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. This plan came about due to a grant that the Office of Emergency Services was awarded in about 2009. At that point, the Office of Emergency Services hired a contractor. That contractor was then released in 2012, and I took office in 2014 with a call from FEMA saying, get this done or you owe us $60,000. So what you have in front of you is the end result of that call from FEMA. It's not the best plan in the world, but it does satisfy the grant, and it does also make us eligible for future hazard mitigation grants, as well as being eligible for California Disaster Assistance Act funds. There's no staff obligation, there's no financial obligation to this plan. Basically what it does is it identifies potential hazards and identifies potential means to mitigate them so that they are no longer a hazard or are not as big of a hazard should an event happen. The next step beyond this is some more pre-planning towards determining what the city would do in an emergency. I've had several conversations with the city clerk as well as the city manager, and if the board agrees, I would appreciate a future agenda item to discuss a partnership between the city and county OES to perhaps provide funding for a part-time employee that can work to do some of those pre-planning efforts that we just don't have the time, staff, or funds to do as it is. But it is my recommendation that the council approves the plan, and so we can get to work on other items. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I have a question, right?
Yeah.
Did you go through and update it? From what I got, there were some pretty old dates and things like that.
From the original version you saw?
Yeah.
Yes. So I met with City Manager Roger Grimsley, and we covered a few items that were updated. A lot of the plan I can't update. FEMA approves it in parts, so they'll approve, section 1A, B3, and then once that's approved, they don't look at it anymore, and I can't change it unless I want them to do the whole plan again. And I couldn't start the planning process again because we just didn't have time per the grant guidelines. So unfortunately, like I said, it's not the best product, and it's not an example of my work. It's just kind of what we all had to work with.
And I think what Kevin is saying is it was started in 206, it carried forth, and obviously there's been some changes since 206. We've tried to address the more immediate concerns to make it applicable, and I think with regard to the hazardous emergency and work, I think it's adequate to move forward on it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I just said, I was reading through and what are they talking about? 208? I mean, come on.
Right.
So.
And the good thing is it's not an operational plan. It's not something we're going to pull off the shelves in case of emergency and start following it letter by letter. Mm-hmm. It's a plan that it's only used right now to identify hazards when we have funding so that we can address them.
Got it.
Okay.
Public.
Roger, can we just adopt the plan, or do we need to adopt the resolution?
No.
I believe FEMA requires a resolution.
They do, okay. We didn't agendize this as a resolution, did we?
It was under action items. So we can.
So can we go ahead and adopt a resolution even though we didn't list it?
The resolution of the City Council
Yeah.
of the City
Do we
of San
need-
Juan Bautista adopting the multi-jurisdictional hazardous mitigation plan.
It would be okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Public.
So any questions?
Public comment?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
Questions? No questions. Okay. Is there anybody that would like to comment or ask questions on this subject? Okay, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the council for action.
I would, go ahead.
Move to pass a resolution in the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting the San Benito County Operational Area Multi-Jurisdictional Local Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, roll call?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarina?
Aye.
Mayor Reg?
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Great.
And the number?
And the number?
That is 22.
22.
I'm sorry?
22.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we go to 4A, presentations, informational items, and reports. Julie?
Good evening. I was afraid you were going to move half your agenda above me. Not that I didn't want to spend the evening here. And it
Donya's is open until 10.
It actually should say report on tourism efforts through the San Benito County Chamber. It's not small businesses, so I don't know if that makes a difference, but I'm going to move forward before you change your minds. So, anyway, this is an update on the funds that you gave us last year in your budget and what the Chamber has been doing. You all should have a copy of this. Unfortunately, you don't have a PowerPoint that I can do it on, so we had to do paper for everybody. I think there was some, and I'm sorry I have my back to you guys, I'm not used to that. So in 2015, the Chamber took on the tourism efforts for our county. Is this on? Is it? And the city of Hollister granted the first $50,000 to get the website going. So we got the website and everything launched. We got Facebook, Twitter, we got us all on the social media. That took a while to get set up when you're doing an interactive website that has a lot of information on it. That took us a while to set up. In 2015, we gave out 1,300 visitor bags. So 1,300 visitors to Bellata Park, Bar SZ, the Olive Festival, Oils of Piscinas, any RV groups that come in. We have a lot of them call us. We make up bags. They come in. They pick them up. It's all information about our county that's in there. So we took care of that in 2015. 2015-2016 budget included the visitor's guide, which we're down to, I just shipped 250 of them to Sonoma County for their garden expo. So we're down to 100 of them left out of 5,000. So we will be doing a new visitor's guide for our area. They can be found in the San Jose Airport, at the United Terminal and the Hertz Terminal, Pismo Beach, Casa de Fruta, Pinnacles National Park, Mission San Juan Bautista Visitors Center, San Juan Bautista City Hall. We took them to the aviation trade show in Las Vegas, and as I said, the Sunset Magazine Garden Expo. The Central Coast Tourism Map, we are also in that, and you can see where it's been distributed for the 2015-2016 year on those locations. Your next page shows that we had promotional tours. We brought writers and photographers in. I know one of your councilmen was interviewed and was good enough to take some of the writers around San Juan Bautista. And he was also on their Facebook page eating, donut
Heavenly Bites.
Heavenly Bites from San Juan Bakery. So
That's right.
yes. We have a 3-year contract with Big Blend Radio and Magazine. They have interviewed 27 local residents about different things to visit within San Benito County. We are on in their magazine monthly. They have 2.5 million people that visit their magazine annually. And so we have a 3-year contract with them, and they're going to be back in the next month. They were scheduled to come for June, and plans fell through, so they're coming in July. They're going to be spending 2 or 3 days in San Juan Bautista and then other areas of our community. We did the Olive Festival. We also did luggage handles that we can hand out as swag that say San Benito County and have the website on it. So we've handed out quite a few of those. We were in the Yosemite Journal. We had a 2-page article in the Yosemite Journal. It was available in print and online. And from that, we have gained 9,712 emails to date of people that are interested in more information about San Benito County. So they will be getting our tourism newsletter quarterly. So that is still up. That's for 12 months. That will be on myyosemite.com and also in the Yosemite Journal. So the journal is a 1-year contract that we have with them. myyosemite.com ran a contest, and it was called California Road Trip, and one of the stops was San Benito County. And the person that won it, the contest ended, the person that won it is from Illinois, so he's going to be here in September. We're going to interview him. KION is going to come over and interview him about how he won the contest. And I was interviewed last week on KION about our tourism within San Benito County. So we gathered 6,241 emails just from that 3-month contest. And we even had people from Hollister enter it to see if it worked, and it did. We advertised on KSBW during Thanksgiving week because we figure a lot of people are visiting the Monterey area during Thanksgiving week. So we advertised there. We had a 30-second ad that ran, and then we also ran it during the AT&T because there's a lot of people visiting the Monterey Bay area during the AT&T. So that was up until currently in production. So currently in production, we have Gateway to Pinnacle map that will be finished and probably delivered to us within the next week. It's a map that along the way it has stops. It has the Mission San Juan Bautista, and it has stops along the way within San Benito County of different things that you can visit other than the Pinnacles, but it says Pinnacles National Park, Gateway to Pinnacles National Park on the front of it. That'll go in 437 locations throughout California when it is printed. We will also have a new San Benito County road map. We haven't had a new county map since 2011. So we are going to be doing a road map, but that also has historic and visitor type items on the road map. We have the Central California Tourism Coast. These are hot off the press. They just arrived. These are 2016-2017 maps. These are all over California also, and we partnered with Central California Tourism Council on this. So we have 4 items that are in this. And the second printing will have Mission San Juan Bautista in it. I have to switch out Wine Trail on half of them and then Mission San Juan Bautista on the next printing because they wouldn't allow me to have 5 spots. I was getting a little too...
We should be on there every month.
Trying to put too much on there. So we also have guided tours that we're working on. That is in production. We have a photographer that has taken pictures of all the barns within San Benito County. We have a limo company that wants to do barn tours for photographers and birders. So we are starting that this next year. Sorry, whoever yawned. I'm sorry. We have our Sunset Magazine feature that's coming up. It will be out June 1st. We have retractable banners we've done. We've trademarked the logo. That's something that's very important, and I know that San Juan Bautista San Juan Committee just did that. They really need to trademark their logo because we already had somebody try to use our logo and our Discover San Benito tagline. So we did that in 2016. So going forward, this is what we printed. This for a visitor's guide. This is what we would like to print. If Bakersfield can do a visitor's guide like this, San Benito County can. We have more, I'm sorry if anybody's from Bakersfield. We have more in San Benito County to offer for a nice visitor's guide like this, and they would be in the same 437 locations that are. Pardon? So anyway, sorry, got me off my. So anyway, going forward, we would like to purchase a trade show booth so that we can visit festivals, indoor trade shows, and expos, just like the Sonoma County Expo that is coming up. It would be great if San Benito County had a designed booth in order to be able to do that. We would like to do a PowerPoint that we can put on just a little thumb drive, mail it out to civic groups that can play it at their meetings, and it doesn't cost a lot to send that out, to send it out to other chambers that may want to plan trips to this area and make San Benito County as a stop. We also want to do radio and TV advertising, place ads in hiking, cycling, birdwatching, and historical publications, seminars to our local businesses so that they can gain knowledge on how to work together and bring the tourism dollars within San Benito County. We already have some set up. We have 7 set up so already. And so I have the budgets for 2014, 2015, 2015 and 2016 on here. 2015, 2016, Hollister, City of Hollister invested $50,000. County of San Benito invested $18,000. City of San Juan Bautista invested $2,500 into the tourism efforts. I have broken down what we use the funds for, so you guys have that. So what I'm looking for going forward as our projected budget is the City of Hollister granting us $100,000. The County of San Benito granting us $30,000, and the City of San Juan Bautista granting us $15,000 for our tourism efforts going for 2016-2017. And it's broken out what those funds, I mean, it's kind of what those funds would be going for. So, does anybody have any questions?
I have one.
Okay.
Why don't you point out that the front entrance to the Pinnacles is 25 rather than let him go all the way to Soledad and come in the back way?
That's what we've done.
Where?
On the Pinnacle maps that will be
No,
coming
I
up.
mean on the highway.
That is, we are looking into that. We have a wayfinding committee, and those signs cost about $40,000 a piece.
I don't know where Soledad got the money, but they got it.
I understand that.
And
So if you have friends at Caltrans, Caltrans kind of handles that.
the only reason I say that is I got into it with the mayor of Soledad because I said we had the best Mexican restaurant in California, and he said his sister had the best one. So
I'm not sure that I can do much about that.
Well, people got to understand, Doña Esther's the best man.
Okay, well,
And Hardee's.
that's not something that I can control, but
The other problem on that one is that the entrance at 25 is in Santa Clara.
Yeah. But if you could get
But that
Caltrans to
still
put a
is
sign up,
a
Pinnacles
Caltrans.
National Park, you know.
It's a national park.
Do you guys really want to debate where the entrance to Pinnacles is here?
Well, the point is, you get a lot of people coming through.
Right.
I
So
understand.
I think Julie's
Yeah.
message to us is put your money where your mouth is. You want to put a billboard on the road, which, by the way, the whole tourism committee of the Chamber of Commerce voted was the #1 top choice. Then we need to come up with a lot more money because it is a really expensive prospect.
Well, we have to look at our budget first.
I agree. So my suggestion is that we take this up as part of our budget process, which we're continuing, next Wednesday is our
Yeah.
next meeting?
Yeah, we've already had one meeting on the budget, so the next one is a week from tomorrow.
I
So we'll add this into that.
This is like from nowhere to doing stuff. This is very great. This is terrific, Julie.
And
Thank you.
considering this is just about 14 months worth, because we
Right.
didn't start this until March of last year. So this was all of this that we have done through the chamber has been like 14 months. And Chris sits on my, Councilman Monterena sits on my tourism council. So he knows that it's only been the last 14 months that we've gotten all this accomplished. And we've accomplished a lot from not having anything within our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. Okay, item B, Planning Commission presentation of certificates of recognition for National Preservation Month. Ernie?
Good evening, Mayor Rich, members of the City Council. I'm Ernest Franco, the Chairman of the Planning Commission. May is National Preservation Month, and the Planning Commission and the Historic Resources Board, for several years now, have selected structures to recognize the efforts made by the owners to extend their life expectancies. Such efforts could be by restoration, reconstruction, continuous maintenance as examples. Why? We call ourselves the City of History. Other bodies are working to brand us so we can continue to receive visitors to experience what we have to offer. However, if there's no there when they get there, they will stop coming here. The Planning Commission's program is intended to keep the owners of historic buildings aware of what they have and the importance of their properties to the city. Just painting or maintaining a garden or doing some restoration work will keep the there there. This year, the Planning Commission has selected a non-residential structure and for the first time, a residential structure for recognition. The first is the Glad Tidings Church at 499 3rd Street, maintained by Reverend and Mrs. John Emilio. The second is the house at 1111 1st Street, owned by Tom and Dee Coe. Now, the Planning Commission has passed a resolution. One of our members has prepared pictures, framed pictures of the house units to be recognized. I don't believe anybody is here tonight. So you have copies of the resolutions with you. I'll just note that the things that we were looking for was the color palettes, preserving the character-defining features of the house in the full Victorian style, in fact, and maintaining a welcoming and inviting appearance in one of the gateways to the city, extending the economic life of the building, and modeling responsible stewardship of a historic building. Others, we use the Greek Revival style church, maintaining an inviting appearance, again, to the gateway to downtown. Designing and building accessory structure in a style and scale that is compatible with the surrounding area. And again, modeling responsible stewardship of historical building. We want to keep doing this to keep the awareness that there is something here to preserve, and if we don't preserve it, they'll cease to be there. So what we're going to have staff do, since no one is here to receive these certificates and the pictures, is to have staff deliver them for us. So do you have any questions about our process or why we chose the houses or the buildings?
No. Do we have a certificate form that we can print this stuff on?
We have had a general, again, some of the things I just mentioned here, what we're looking for is if you've got an older building, so it's old, but you do the garden. Roses are hot here. You paint it. You work on some of the trim. Maybe you take the trim, you do 2 or 3 color palette. And again, this has been general, but the Historic Resources Committee, the Committee for the Historic Resources Board, was able to look at these various factors and select these. In fact, one of our members, I think he photographed 40 units that we used to screen down to the ones that we selected.
Wow. Well, this is good. I'm glad you guys are paying attention to this. It's going to pay dividends, I think.
I think it'll be in support of the branding program and the what do you call it, wayfinding committees.
Yeah.
There's got to be something there when you pull them off the highway and say, hey, spend the day. We need some restaurants. We need to have some of our buildings filled up. But we're working on it.
Yeah.
And again, this will show, I think, any developer or business person This city cares about you, wants you to come in, and we're protecting your interests by getting everybody to protect theirs for the common good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ernie. Okay, 4C, licensing of tobacco retailers. We've got Martha Lara from Health and Human Services Agency.
We've got this item,
Doesn't that come up later?
the ordinance.
5A, yeah. Well, we could move 5A up and take it after this, I suppose. Actually, it wouldn't matter. Won't matter, yeah.
So, hi.
Hi.
Unfortunately, Martha could not be here this evening, so I'm stepping in her place.
Oh, good.
And
Thank
I
you.
do want to let you know there's a lot of us, but we promise that we'll be under 10 minutes. We've practiced about 30 or 40 times out in the parking lot. So I want to thank the youth also for coming out on a school night to present to you this evening. A good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members, and thank you for providing us with this opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Sam Perez, and I'm the Program Manager for San Benito County Health and Human Services Agency Public Health Services. San Juan Bautista is near and dear to my heart. I've lived here for 20 years and have raised 5 children in this community, all who have gone to San Juan School, except for the youngest, of course. I am here tonight to provide you with additional information you may need following your discussion on April 19th meeting regarding the establishment of a tobacco retail licensing program that prohibits the sale of e-cigarettes and other tobacco products and regulates the sale of cigarettes and smokeless tobacco to youth. TRLs have proven successful in over 100 communities throughout California, including Hollister. As you know, since 2006, Hollister retailers must purchase a license from the city in the amount of $269 annually in order to sell tobacco products. This fee covers administrative costs and ongoing compliance checks by the city, Hollister City Code Enforcement. Establishing a TRL in San Juan Bautista, similar to the one in Hollister, would make it almost impossible for youth to purchase tobacco products in the county without financial consequences to the retailer. This license fee can be as small as basically covering the city administrative costs to paying for a time of an enforcement agency. I provided you with a matrix of TRLs for other cities and counties within the state of California. Some, such as San Rafael, TRL is as low as $10 a year, whereas others, like El Cajon, is as high as $675 a year. The most important piece of this TRL is that it serves the great opportunity to curtail the prevalence of tobacco use amongst our youth in our community. We do not want our youth to smoke. And this is the best solution to prevent our youth from embarking on a life-addicting behavior. Again, thank you for your consideration in adopting a TRL in the city of San Juan Bautista. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have after the youth speak.
Hello, my name is Erica Baxter, and I am with the Tobacco Education Program and the Youth Coalition, and I'm attending Gallup College as well. Piggybacking off of Sam, as I was growing up, I was always told that tobacco was bad for my health. And it was hard when I first saw my dad use Copenhagen when I was 10 years old. I was confused because he was the one that always told us, his family, that it was bad for us. I remember my younger sister and I putting food under our lip pretending it was Copenhagen because we wanted to be like our dad. Although my younger sister and I were pretending to be like our dad, we never purchased tobacco products or tried using it even though my dad had it in arm's reach. However, years passed and using tobacco. He recently took the bad habit again and decided to go back to using tobacco, which is now smoking Swishers. Being a concerned daughter, knowing my dad started using tobacco at the age of 15, it has been a struggle trying to help my dad quit using Copenhagen. But right when my family and I thought he finally quit, he's 50 years old and he continues to use it. So with that being said, here I am today with the youth, and I hope you consider making a change of local retail licensing of e-cigarettes and other tobacco products.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Hernan Chavez and I am a 16-year-old high schooler. and I am also part of the Tobacco Youth Coalition. And first off, I want to start by saying thank you to the City Council of San Juan Bautista for letting us do this presentation today. So a little bit of what I'm going to talk about are the effects of tobacco and how it affects our communities and our children and our teenagers and seniors as well. So two things that we are trying to accomplish are to pass a tobacco retailer license and also to prohibit the sales of electronic nicotine devices and flavored tobacco products. Because let's face it, people, tobacco is a drug and it's very addicting, and it also poisons our communities, starting from babies to teenagers to seniors. Me being a teenager and living in a time frame where smoking is cool and just common among teens and young adults is very discouraging. However, I do see a lot of hope, ambition, and empowerment, and I see it in myself and also in these wonderful people here today. But you know what? We cannot do it by ourselves. That's why we need your help, because you all have the power to do it. And also, tobacco is a gateway that leads to other drugs and also to many serious crimes, and it also causes many deaths. But however, we can, like I said, you are all the decision makers and you have the power to make a change. And we can start by making these products unavailable in stores. And now here's a little bit about how tobacco affects children.
Hello, my name is Maya, and I am a freshman at a high school. So I would like to say a little bit about how it affects children. So it's very common for children to follow in the footsteps of a present role model for themselves, which is usually their parents. So, connections. And then those who have parents who smoke and such usually have their children end up smoking and stuff. So that's not always good. And furthermore, children cannot control their exposure to secondhand smoke. Like kids who play at playgrounds and like to play outside, they can't help like having like a neighbor or someone passing by smoking and then having to inhale that. Unfortunately, the exposure to smoke affects kids the most in their brains and lungs, which are still developing. That is why it's important to restrict tobacco products from local stores to protect the children who cannot protect themselves.
Hello, I'm Eric. I'm 17. I'm in high school. I've seen smoking in various places, stores, malls, everywhere. But one that struck me the most was seeing kids in high school smoking in the restrooms after school on campus. And that shouldn't happen, like them able to get them so easily. It's easy to get tobacco, e-cigarettes, mostly e-cigarettes they smoke during class. I've seen also in classes, during class, which that's very shocking. But they used to smoke them during class, passing periods, and it's very easy for us to get them from school, from parents, some parents, other friends, and I also know some stores where kids go and get them, which we shouldn't be able to. It also is affecting the middle schoolers now. I've also seen in middle school where kids are smoking e-cigarettes, tobacco. And one way to help is us, the parents, or you guys, if you have like younger children, to talk to them, like ask them how if they have been in contact with it, or they've tried it. But just try talking to them in like comfort. Don't like suppress them, have you. Just in comfort. Thank you.
We're just small group of youth. Thank you for listening to us and caring about the future of all youth.
Thank you very much.
So at this time, do you have any questions for myself or the youth?
Any questions from council?
Not at this point. I'm sure there will be when we consider the ordinance, but not at this
Then I
point.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's move to monthly financial statements and treasurer's report. Chuck's not here.
Oh, there he is.
He's coming, oh, there he is, okay.
Maybe you can move mine up too. Last month I came and I think I had to go to Costco and I think I was here 40 minutes and we didn't even get to where. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for letting me come back and talk to you guys about finance. My name's Chuck Iger. I'm the treasurer of San Juan Bautista. Just go over a couple of the treasury reports in your packet, just kind of mention a couple things. And once again, you can see the actual numbers, but for the public, it's important to know that our general fund is operating at a positive cash flow. The second bullet are enterprise funds, which for the public, that's water and sewer. We're still operating at a little bit of a loss, but we're getting it's becoming less. Once again, I don't know, Roger, if you know anything about the state letting up on the use of water. I haven't seen anything. I'm talking about the allocations to be used for.
The governor's recommending going from 25 to 20%.
Okay, and that will help us because I think people will probably use a little more water, like watering their grass, watering their flowers. But that's the reason the enterprise fund is down a little bit because it's people are actually being very conservative with the use of water, which is good. But anyway, overall cash flow at the city is in a positive situation, which is excellent to hear. The reserves are looking good. It's moving up a little bit on the reserves. That's good physical management by our administration here. Once again, there was a bond interest only payment made in March for $116,000. Looking down at the fifth bullet on the paper, the first annual payment on our new debt because of the refinance will be October 1st, 2016, of the amount of $575,000. So we need to get ready for that. Tighten our belt. Be careful with our money. The second page just basically reviews the budget projections versus the actual expenditures, and you can see that the revenues are a little higher. That's good, by about $68,000. The expenditures were lower, and that's good fiscal management, keeping expenditures down. And the down there with the enterprise funds revenues, it tells you a number which was actually lower than budgeted. So we're down a little bit on the revenues on the enterprise fund. Just want to keep in. I know we've had one session on the San Juan Bautista City budget. I think next one's coming up next Wednesday. Is that correct? Next Wednesday.
Yes.
I think it looks pretty good. I know you guys are going through it line by line. Invite the public to come if they'd like to see how the budget operates in the city. And I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is the warrants. The warrants are the checks written by the city. The monthly payout for the warrants. I'm not sure, Roger. What basically did we have? We showed close to 100,000. But I think about 7,000 or 8,000 of it was just paying back people who put deposits down and stuff like that. They got a refund.
And coupled with, there was a couple months of Bracewell, and so we had to catch up with that. And so there was a 23 and a 13,000. So that totaled 3 months. So, and it was just unfortunate it was overlooked, and so we're catching up on that. So normally it runs about $13,000.
So I'll put it back to the council. Was there any of the checks that you were questioning? Okay, Rick?
Charles M. Salter, 8205.
8205.
All on the second page.
Oh, on the second
Charles M.
page.
Salter
Yeah.
Associates.
Oh, that's that's reimbursable through a environmental, that is the noise study for the ARCO station.
Okay.
And that's being reimbursed by Harvey Dadwell, yeah.
Okay. And then NTU Technologies, Inc., 1,600? Further down.
Oh, that's chemicals in the wastewater treatment plant?
Oh, okay. And then San Benito County Environmental Health Department?
Well, each year they go around and circulate, and each place where we have chlorine, oil, diesel, they inspect it, and then that's part of the CUPA requirement, and each site's got to pay, I think, $305.
Okay. The seals on the gas pump when you get gas?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's all I had. Any questions other than that?
$41, it's, hey, All-Star Ready Mix was 200 something, man.
Okay, I guess
Okay.
there's no questions.
400 something.
Are
Thank
you,
you, Chuck.
are you,
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
And
I'll
just
see you guys next
are
Wednesday.
you
I'll be
still
here.
running the totals in the different enterprise funds?
Yes, would you like an update on that?
Yeah.
I'll bring it next month to you.
Okay.
You want to know, okay, sure. And that was like the ones for the parks and stuff you were asking?
Right.
Okay, I'll bring it to you.
Just want to know how much money we got to spend.
Okay.
And just to let you know, Granite Rock was very, very, very generous in donating a lot for the Rudy Park.
Yeah, it was
And we
amazing.
prepared a letter, and the mayor sent it out, thanking them for the generous donation. That was well worded, and I'd just like to give them recognition.
Yeah.
They stepped up to the plate big time, yeah.
Granite is always,
Solid.
no, they bet,
Solid as a
I'm
rock.
trying to say something nice.
I wish.
Granite has always been good to San Juan.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck. Next item, Sheriff's Report. I don't have one in here, so I assumed there wasn't one this month. Fire Chief's Report.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. So for the Chief's Report, I have a culmination of dates from April 15th to yesterday's date on call breakdown, and I'm going to go categorically through the report that you've got in front of you. So we're going to go straight to District 4. You can, at your leisure, take a look at Districts 1, 2, and 3 and see the increase of calls. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a matrix that will show you the call volume from the last year. This way you can compare the call volume increase with the district and see how the increase in the population affects us and our infrastructure here. District 4, you had 40 calls, 1 fire. Vehicle accidents, 9. I think that's pretty significant compared to District 2 where it's more densely populated. However, you do have the bypass here. You have San Juan Hollister Road that does get a lot of traffic, and that's conducive to the vehicle accidents that we have. You had 23 EMS calls of any kind of variation and 26 miscellaneous calls, which include hazmat, gas leak, alarms, public assist. And if you look at the bold down in the bottom, I have an EPA standby. I don't know if you guys heard of the standby that we had through the news of 12 tons of, I believe it's called benite. Benite, it's an explosive that they use for like blasting caps for weapons. MK Ballistics, when they were on San Juan or Santa Ana Valley Road, used to make charges for grenade launchers for the Army and the Marine Corps. They did it out there. So they made that particular component, and in order for them to make it in mass quantity, they had 12 tons of this stuff. Well, this stuff was stockpiled in bunkers, actual military-grade bunkers in Santa Ana Valley Road, right off the beaten path next to, I think they were going, what, Cabbage, Jeff, or something like that? Okay, so in collaboration with Monterey County Bomb Squad, Sheriff's Bomb Squad, the Coast Guard, the EPA, NOAA, Hollister Fire, AMR, and several other agencies that I can't recall at this time. A lot of 3-letter federal agencies. They successfully disposed of it. Now, I was a combat engineer when I was in the Marine Corps, and how we would get rid of ordnances that we would explode it. We would detonate it in place, right? Well, the process that they've done was a slow deflagrate. So in other words, it was a fast fire, slow explosion. So there was minimum of any kind of ground contamination. There was a minimum of any kind of blast or structure damage. And as soon as they got it done, the EPA did a water study, they did a ground study, and made sure that what was left behind was inert. It wasn't going to be toxic or caustic. So they did a good job. And it's a funny thing, our standby generated $8,400 just standing there making sure that nobody got hurt. And the Cienega fire, we deployed 2 firefighters with the water tender for a standby of 7 days. Of 7 days for the state at, what was it, the Line Kiln incident. And that amount of time on a strike team deployment generated $27,000. And I think I paid out maybe $14,000 in overtime just to cover that. And you know, 27,000 is pretty significant for the services. Next on the list, and that was a special operation. That's nothing that we planned for, but it's something that we prepare for. Okay, and while that's happening, the continuity of service is maintained. So every station had 3-0 staffing, and we still were able to call forces back in to deploy them for those operations. The Hollister Fire Apparatus Report. Currently, in the red bold, you'll see what's out of service. My concern right now is engine 32, county rig. That is our Type 3 apparatus, and we've got two off-road vehicles. One of them is P53. It's a Type 6, basically a utility truck with a skid-mounted pump, a water tank, and it does a rapid attack. Lightweight, costs about $5 a mile to put it on the road, as opposed to what engine 32 and the Type 1 engines would put out. That's about $15 a mile. And that money is factored in by the kind of wear and tear it puts on your roads and the wear and tear that it puts on the vehicle itself. So I'm looking into purchasing a couple of more Type 6s, rapid deployment. You put 2 people in it, so if you got to deal with an A, B, or C, a lower grade medical, you only have to put 2 people on this apparatus, like a utility truck, but it's got firefighting capability, and it's got rescue capability, and EMS capability, because we got 2 EMTs in there managing it. $5 a mile down the road to mitigate the issue, pick up, grandma from falling down, putting her back in bed, dealing with the sprains, dealing with the headaches, all of the A, B, and C level medical aids, where if it's in fact D and E, where it consists of CPR, managing a patent airway, profuse bleeding, then we deploy the engine with everybody on it, the defibrillator, the whole 9 yards. This way we can preserve life. So I'm going to council, I'm going to the Board of Supervisors next week to have them provide for the repairs on engine 32, because it's imperative to have a Type 3 engine deployed for vegetation fires, especially in the environment that we're in right now. We're in the urban interface. It's you got a rural aspect circled around by a lot of vegetation. That is our bread and butter when it comes to fighting wildland fires. For rapid deployment, P53 is a quick attack. We can set it out there. They can start a rapid extinguishment, knock down the fire, while the bigger forces come in to mitigate the incident, along with the water tender. Also, what we have out of service is engine 17. That one right there, because of its age, is a lot more expensive to try to get back on the road, where the valuation of it itself is far less than the repair itself. So we are probably going to deadline that and then ask the local government agency that actually purchased it what they want us to do with it, because it just doesn't pan out. As opposed to engine 32, yeah, it's worth $24,000 and we want to dump $17,000 in its repair, but we're going to buy 5 more years of use for it. And I'm going to ask the county to purchase another Type 3 because there's a lot of growth in the District 3 area out there by Rosa Morada, and there's a lot of growth out in South County, so we need to address that. Water tender 53, we just purchased the chassis for it at $247,000. We put up the bond for it, we put up the money for it so we can get a discount of $10,000, which in fact is going to help us pay for the taxes on the FEMA granted piece of equipment. That's a Type 1 water tender. It's tactical. That's what is going to help us in an environment like this where the water system has challenges. We can deploy 2 vehicles, 2 apparatus in tandem to deal with wildland fires and to deal with structure fires. So as soon as we get word of that, this guy is going to be deployed in order to help support the water system where the challenge is the greatest, especially in the urban area and what we have here. Support 65 is in service. That one got a little bit of a stumble not too long ago, and we were able to fix that. That right there, we might as well give it to the police department because they use it a lot more often than we do. You know, they lighten up crime scenes and providing for rehabilitation and water and all that good stuff. Got a Type 1 committee together, specking out apparatus, irregular fire engines, in the event that we get the opportunity to purchase an apparatus. I need to have these committees come together so they can provide us with the way ahead, what we need to address our community through assessments and through repetitive calls, what the trends are. So right now it's Type 1s in the densely populated area, Type 3s for the wildland, large events, and then I want to employ the Type 6s for the smaller emergency medical aids and the quick attack, like the grass fire we had last July. That could have just knocked everything down in a rapid sweep, or at least hold it at bay until the larger troops came on board. It's a method that's been used up and down the state. It's proven. Going to the League of Cities and listening to the city managers talk about it up and down the state, it's a far more fiscally responsible, economic, and in my opinion, the deployability of it speaks for itself. So Rescue 64 being out of service and some of the equipment on it not being up to standard to provide as a rescue, it's been brought to my attention that before I got here, it was been proposed to turn it into a patrol also. It's got everything it needs to become a patrol for the exception of a skid-mounted pump and a tank. And I just found the proposal today in one of the filing cabinets. It's not very old. The proposal probably still holds true to the valuation of the pump and the tank, and probably even the install. So I'm gonna bring that next council meeting so we can take a look at it. I'm gonna send it to you guys so you can have a bird's eye view of it, and then give me guidance as far as the recommendation is concerned for that. A couple of months ago, the Hollister Fire Department experienced a drop in our reserve. We had 3 Type 1 vehicles that went out of service for either maintenance or there was a coolant leak or there was pump issues. We were to the point where we were using P53 as a first out engine at Station 2, which could seat 4 people. However, it was going to be very crowded, and it's not very practical if all you have is that and you have no reserve. So if if the ISO organization got a snapshot of that and saw what we were doing, our rating in all 3 jurisdictions would probably skyrocket. Okay, so right now we're at 3 in Hollister. I believe we're 3 or 4 here and 5 in the county. If we have less pump capacity, the ISO rating will increase, which means premiums will increase, and that's not good for the business owners, and that's not good for our local economy. So I want to take that in consideration. Yes, I need to address the fact that fire suppression is paramount and life safety is paramount. However, we have to recognize that if the equipment isn't there, it's going to affect the local economy, and I need to be responsible for that also. Okay. Talk to the city of Watsonville. I have ties there. I asked them, in the event that I'm down to no reserve apparatus, would they have a problem with lending us one Type 1 fire engine plus an engineer to help us bird dog the piece of equipment, understand how it works, because every piece of apparatus is designed for a jurisdiction, and it takes a matter of maybe a couple of days for these guys to understand how it operates, get it on the road, and then we would be giving that engineer back along with some overtime that we generated from them, and that was the agreement. I need to work collaboratively with my neighbors, because when the big one hits, they're going to be there to back us up, and I'm going to be there to back them up. So building up the relationships right now when we're not, spastic is a lot better than screaming for help and it not being there because that relationship wasn't built. Okay, strength management, we got 2 chief officers, 3 battalion coverages. Acting Battalion Chief Jeff Minucci is one of them. He's my logistics officer, so anything that rolls, fights fire, or breaks windows and doors, he's in charge of. Also, coffee and donuts, and if you see there's none here, so it's going to go on his evaluation.
Do you know how many there were?
11 fire captains, 9 fire engineers, 17 firefighters, and then unfortunately we've dropped down to 9 reserve firefighters. So that was because of these folks not making attendance, or them deciding that they just didn't have the time to do it. A couple of them, proud as I am to admit it, but kind of sorry to hear it, got picked up with Salinas, Clovis, and another one in the valley that escapes me right now. So we had 3 of them that left.
What, seriously? Santa Clara City.
Oh, Santa Clara City. So I don't blame them. I did the same thing about 5 years ago when I went to Watsonville, but it dropped our numbers from 23 to 9, so I lost 14 of them. That was kind of hard to take. So recruiting efforts are ongoing. And I have an academy starting in June. So June, because we just ordered 15 sets of turnouts, and I couldn't start the academy in April like I wanted to because these poor folks didn't have turnouts to fight fire in. So you need to have the football jersey to play football. Okay, so before we snap that ball, I had to get them into uniform. June is when it's drop dead start time. When in June? Probably in the beginning, because I need these guys up and going at least a third of the way during fire season, because that's when they're going to be used the most. And that's when I want to put them to work the most. Quality Assurance Board for new firefighters have been completed. All of them have successfully completed. So what that does, it tests them didactically in the classroom, and it tests them on the road to know how to do their job without question, without that blank stare on their face. Captain's test to begin in late April. I put a freeze on that because I didn't have enough firefighters below them to be able to make the promotions to captain above them. So as opposed to all the chiefs and no Indians, I'm going to try to balance that out. Driver operator, everybody that goes through this process becomes a driver operator. We want to make sure to the point where first thing you do is fill out that application and make sure that you can maintain a commercial driver's license or a firefighter endorsement driver's license. We're starting an EMT basic class in June. It's a 20-week academy, and right now the focus is, I think it's 30% of the deputies in the sheriff's office, and then 40 or 50% of the police officers in Hollister PD. And that's because I've talked with the law enforcement bosses, and I said, look, they asked, if it'd be possible to put this area of responsibility onto their deputies and patrolmen, and I said absolutely, because they can get to an accident a lot faster than we can. They can stop the clock. They can start a rapid assessment while we go in. They can give us an update, and then we can take over from there, providing that all of their responsibilities are being addressed as far as traffic, any kind of disputes for a vehicle accident. Of course, life safety comes first, and to put it plain, the brain dies in 6 minutes. It takes us about 5 minutes to drive anywhere in bad traffic, code 3. Once we can start providing rescue breathing and hands-only CPR, we could preserve life. So the more EMTs, more first aid and first responder type that we have out there, the better the survivability is. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so the fire marshal's report. Chief Alvarez is on vacation right now. He'll be back for the next one. But this year he had inspected 45 inspections, approximately 52.25 staff hours. Through March and April, he inspected 26 plans. We're looking at the Santana Ranch new development. They've already provided for fire impact fees on the environmental report, that study that we've just received. San Juan Oaks, Del Webb development, we just did a layout with their hydrants, and that was approved by the fire marshal. And the eastbound tentative improvements from the alarm systems. Last week, we just put out a public safety announcement on fireworks, illegal fireworks, and illegal discharges with weapons. It took all three public safety agencies, to include CalSTAR and AMR and code enforcement, to do a video on the result of using illegal fireworks, the repercussions of and the damage that can be caused by using or by shooting off weapons. And I think it came out on Nixle or Instagram, something like that. And it's out there. I've seen it a couple of times already, and we've got flyers. We've got a PSA that we're sending to a media release, and we're going to send the information to you guys too, and you can post it on your website. Code enforcement, that's a Hollister City issue. We just did the weed abatement stuff and the abatement deadline. I'm adding another component to the chief's report, and that's going to consist of future operations. And the future operations is going to categorize call volume, medical responses, fires, and special operations, like the one we did with the Cienega Fire and the EPA standby. Community growth, to include target hazards, housing developments, and standards of cover, where the densely populated area needs to be addressed with public safety, not just fire, but EMS and law enforcement. And then a needs assessment as far as facilities, equipment, and staffing levels, to show us the way ahead. So that concludes my chief's report, pending your questions.
Any questions?
Rescue 64 is the unit that's here, I gather?
Yes.
We have our next budget meeting next Wednesday.
Yes.
So it would probably be, it would be beneficial to us to have that information from you prior to that meeting.
Will do.
Rather than our next next regular meeting.
Okay, will do. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and provide the information that I received today on the possibility of a conversion and its applicability for the environment.
Okay.
other questions?
Oh, sir.
Okay, and I hope you guys got the concept of operations that I had sent. I don't know if the email, okay, good. And I know it's a lot to read, but it gives you an idea for situational awareness from your fire department.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chief. Okay, library report. That's in our binders.
It's in our binder.
Any questions on that?
No, sir.
No, okay. Roger, administrative report?
Okay, we got our Public Works. I've been doing a little bit of maintenance work on the equipment, and in the library, Lux Library as well, to get some lighting in there and everything. They scheduled and got all the barricades for the car show over this last weekend, and they're getting ready to start doing some patching and street striping. And one of the first things is to concentrate on this Franklin, the Alameda intersection, and move that stop sign up to Donna Esther's. And we've got it laid out, and it's just a matter of grinding some striping off and then restriping it to accommodate the location of it. The Public Works also has cleared the way for that storm drain at the end of 101 Lang Court and everything, and I got the pipe ready to be delivered. Everything is ready to go. I had the crew out there cutting some trees down so that we could get into the thing. The owner still has to move an animal pen there so we can get the equipment around there to start excavating, and it'll be probably materializing the beginning of next week. And planning, Rudy's been doing the code enforcement and the weed abatement, and we've got good results for that. There's still a few that need to be addressed, and we're going to follow it up with some letters. And I've got a private contractor that'll come in and do some disking on some of the land, including our Washington Street 3-acre site. And as far as water wells, I'm getting a little bit of heat from Jan Schweikert from the California State Division of Drinking Water, and she wants to see a little bit more results of well number 4 as well as 5, and so we're going to accelerate it. I met with Chris from Bracewell today, and we're going to mobilize and get the plans and environmental specs and everything ready to go. And I met with a contractor about clearing the site and getting ready to start building up the pad. So we're going to start seeing some activity, and then I'll be bringing back their quotes and their bids for that very shortly. Good. Again, on the backside of that, I've been encouraging her to give me some input on the Cape Seals and the asphalt roads, and I've identified probably 9 or 10 locations, and feel free to chime in and give me some recommendations.
I think you got it covered pretty well.
Yeah.
It seems pretty straightforward.
So I noticed somebody went up on 7th Street and circled all the potholes.
Yeah, we've been, I've been doing that and getting the guys tuned to where I just say what to look for, you know. A little bit sometimes exasperated because they'll drive over the thing 20 times a week and, hey, wait a minute, there's a pothole.
That's nice because it, gives an advance warning to.
Yeah.
What happened over at Karasaki's tonight?
Kurt and I had a meeting and everything, and I think he's going to get back to us. He had to check with his mother, and I think we got everything on board now. So.
I was looking at what they had going in the road. Looks like they had a pumper.
I wasn't aware of that. A pumper, yeah. What, a fire pumper or a sledge pumper?
Sledge pump.
Oh, sledge pump?
Yeah. It was right almost directly in front of the entrance of Mission Vineyard RV.
Oh.
Yeah, Joe and Tony.
Maybe his lift station had some problems there.
Kind of looked like that was probably what was going on.
Because they're on the lift station, and we let them connect to our new force main that goes up. And that's the same line that uses our lift station at the well site number 3.
Okay.
What are they doing down here on First Street? Almost at the end, by the stop sign.
Yeah, just before you go out of town. North side.
They're digging.
They've got an excavator down there and they've got a
Central
plumber down
Valley piping? Or?
Plumbing.
Oh.
Central Valley Plumbing. They were there from when I went to work and they were there when I got home.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they were down there, yeah, I'd have to get out there and take a look. Is it by the entrance to the Christopher Ranch?
No.
That far
No,
along?
the other side of the road. The other side of the road, and it's the last house, right at the stop sign there. They have the cyclone fence and the trees.
Oh.
One that's set back there. I saw it coming home.
What made me curious today is I came through there afternoon, and Al's septic service was there with a hose running.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
what's going on.
Yeah, that house in the back there is on a septic tank, and it's not on city sewer.
They're city though, right? That
Yeah,
property?
they're in the city.
They were just annexed last year.
The workmen were right at the edge of the road. So it looked like they were connecting to city services or working on city. Yeah.
Was it our crew?
No, it was Central Valley Plumbing. 2 trucks and an excavator.
Yeah.
There were
In the
5
street,
guys,
they're in the
6
right of
guys.
way.
Well, I'll check that out tomorrow and see, yeah.
If, with the street work you're talking about, here, there's the idea of the speed bumps has come up several times. Is there value in doing that at the same time, potentially?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's part of this asphalt and Cape Seal where we're going to put some speed bumps. We've identified probably 8 locations around that we're going to install.
Roger, what do you think of the little round pieces that they use for the noise? It's kind of a noise awareness.
They create a lot of noise and they irritate people, where it comes in, so we want to go into some speed bumps where they have to actually slow down to go over it. And it's a traffic calming device rather than making noise and them slowing down.
Valerie mentioned it, but also my wife keeps asking me, where's the trailer with the radar thing?
We had the batteries, a couple of them deteriorated, and we changed those batteries. It was a little bit costly and everything, and they got it down there. They've been maintaining it and getting it ready, and then I'll be moving it out shortly.
She'll let you run an extension cord from the house out there if you put it out there.
Yeah.
Roger, I've got.
But it does work. It really does work.
Yeah, oh yes.
I've got a solar setup that'll work on that trailer, and you'll never have a problem with it. I can.
Well, I think it was not so much that, it was the batteries were old, and we'd charge them, and then 3 or 4 hours later they would go down, and just the plates in the...
Harvey Nyland probably bought the batteries for a while.
Yeah, well, I can help with that too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger. Public meeting reports and city council committee reports. Chris, you want to start off?
So we had a very interesting intergovernmental committee meeting this month. There is a company, I'm sure people have seen a company bringing what appears to be fiber cable along Highway 129 up to the city limits or into the area. And that is in fact what they've done, is brought in fiber from the Bay Area. It's a company called Etheric, and they made a presentation at the Intergovernmental Committee about what their business and what they do, which is high-speed internet. And they are suggesting what they call a microwave bridge basically from San Juan Bautista to Hollister to service the fiber network that Hollister, the city, and the county have been putting in there to service the county offices, city offices, schools, and so forth, as well as then providing high-speed internet wirelessly to the public. And the potential is there for us to sort of piggyback on that function, that operation. And so there will be, I presume, an ongoing conversation. I don't believe they've reached out to you yet. No,
Not yet.
there were the woman who was tasked with that was out of town for a period, and so I would expect to hear from her probably this week or next week.
Good.
But there's potential for another service provider that people may be more happy with. We'll see.
Yeah, they're going to bring that up to the...
Like my high speed with AT&T?
High spend.
I think it got slower, I don't know.
Yeah.
Any other reports? Tony, did you have a report?
No, I have a COG meeting Thursday.
Thursday? Okay. Robert?
Was that the same one other than that? I had the fire committee and pretty much Chief covered that.
Okay.
There's nothing more, you've heard it.
Yeah.
That's it, huh?
Pretty much that was it on that, and it was a pretty good little presentation they did at the intergovernment. So they're going to bring up that fiber optic to about where the sewer plant is, so they can use it with their operations there. And then it's just about putting a microwave satellite that'll shoot a straight beam down 156 to us. So it might work.
Might work.
Well, currently the city's using that company, and they're using a microwave transmitter to Mount Madonna. So you can, in theory, you could get a microwave transmitter today with them and get high-speed internet through them, but it requires a lot of hardware to do it. Mm-hmm. But hopefully this will be a path to economical high-speed and potentially wireless throughout the city. They with a single transmitter, they could service the entire city with wireless high speed. That would be pretty neat.
Not bad.
Be very cool.
Yeah.
I don't see Eric here for Neighborhood Watch.
There was not a meeting.
There was not a meeting? Okay, and I don't have a report on LAFCO. We didn't meet.
It's meeting Thursday?
No. This is the third Tuesday. We'll meet the fourth Thursday. And we will be meeting. Okay, let's go to number 5, public hearings. Consider adopting an ordinance adding section 5-28 requiring licensing of tobacco retailers.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lynn Mello. I'm the Director of Nursing and Public Health Administrator with the County Public Health Department, also known as Health and Human Services, Public Health Services. And tonight we're here to talk about the tobacco retail licensing. Sam Perez is our program manager and champion in the tobacco education program. I know you've seen her here a few times. She's done some work with one of the council members, and Martha Lara, who is also one of our health education champions in tobacco, couldn't be here this evening to speak to this topic, but Sam is our resident expert, and she's going to be talking for Martha. Thank you.
So actually, based on the discussion that you had on April the 19th, I'm here to answer any questions in hoping that we can formally consider the adoption of this ordinance at this time.
Okay, great.
We took your format and prepared our ordinance. Our city attorney did some modifications, and maybe I'll have Deborah just touch base with her. And one of the big features was you recommended 18, and
that was a new one. I think that was getting outlined.
I had it.
We incorporated that into it.
Wonderful. That is one of the policies that passed by Governor Brown last week, actually, is that the age to purchase tobacco products is now has to be 21 years or older, so I barely make it myself.
Me too. Yeah. Ditto.
So now I'm legally of age
dog
to purchase tobacco.
So all the updates to the ordinance actually were related to making it 21 and older to purchase tobacco, except for active military personnel who can still purchase tobacco at age 18. So I saw that there were a few typos that were circled in it, and I think it's ready to go.
Okay, great.
Actually, in the military, you can do it at 17.
May I ask you a question? Why couldn't you have made it 18 instead of 21?
The state just passed a law.
They raised
The state of
They raised it to
California says
21.
you gotta be 21 now.
It's been a,
Like,
cares? We can
it's
do
like
whatever
beer.
we want.
No, the
No,
state.
you can't. Well, isn't there a law?
Oh, is that how that works, Tony?
Isn't there a law against minors buying tobacco products?
Yeah.
Right, it was 18, and they just raised it to 21,
Well,
so
okay.
no one under 21. So basically, this ordinance just enforces the state law.
It
It's
just
consistent
duplicates
with
the state
state law.
law.
It puts
Oh, I'm
licensing
sorry, that
requirements.
This makes it harder.
Right, it makes it
Yeah,
harder.
yeah,
It puts
okay.
licensing requirements, and so it makes it harder for persons under 21 to buy here, and for persons that are retailers to actually sell here.
If I could add, if I believe I understand what you're saying, are you specifying the state policy PC 308A and B, which says at a state level, yeah, no one under the age of 18 can purchase tobacco products, and that's been around since the beginning of time, pretty much. But that's at a state level, and actually on April the 19th, you mentioned it correctly, is that no one's actually going to come down from the state and actually survey the retailers to identify whether they're selling or not. This is just a state policy. It has no teeth to it. So this would actually give more teeth at a local level so that stores pay a price in order to sell tobacco products.
I understand that part. What I don't understand is there's already a law for this, right?
No,
No.
it's increasing
there
the age.
So there is
it's
no
like
law
bringing it up
against
to the
from-
drinking level.
At the
May I, please?
Yes.
There's no
Please.
licensing law.
Right, this is a
You know, like,
licensing.
You gotta have an ABC license for a bar,
Right.
Yeah.
but you don't have to have a license to sell.
We're not
cigarettes.
saying you can't smoke at 18, 21, 45. What we're saying is to sell tobacco products, e-cigarettes, et cetera, you must have a license from the city to do so. And we've established ground rules, guidelines for how that happens. We have not specified what the fee should be. In my conversations with them, said that I thought it should be basically a minimal amount. I mean, I don't think this should be.
It'll be the same fee as our license of any entrepreneur downtown, and that's
Yeah.
$150 a year.
Okay. And so the idea is not to, we're not trying to grab a bunch of money. The idea is to create an enforcement mechanism which doesn't exist at the state level. And as we've all, one of our challenges on so much of what we've talked about here is what's the enforcement? How, we can pass all the laws we want. How's it get enforced? That's where they come in. They're actually out there doing it. They've passed what amounts to the same ordinance in the county and the city of Hollister. County too?
No,
They're
actually,
pending.
the City of Hollister.
City of
And
Hollister.
actually, we're not the enforcement agency for the City of Hollister. The city code enforcement is the enforcement agency for the City of Hollister. We do have citation power if people are smoking in restaurants or bars. We do have citation power in that sense. And we could possibly identify or obtain citation power for this
So this
as well.
addresses smoking
No.
or selling?
No.
Selling up.
Selling.
She's saying that they're already enforcing for smoking and so forth. What they've said is that they will do the survey that is described in here where they go in and basically use a decoy to make purchases. Their department or their
Yes,
their
we
group
could do
will
that.
do that for us. So
Right.
we don't have to have
Right.
Roger pretending to be 817 buying, dressing up as a 17-year-old to go buy tobacco products.
Is this a problem
They'll
in San
take
Juan
care of it.
Bautista?
you volunteering?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, you see
Yeah.
kids smoking, I mean,
No smoking. We're not talking about this. Is there a problem with minors buying tobacco products in this town?
they're getting them
Sure,
somewhere.
well, you wouldn't know.
Pardon?
You wouldn't know.
All we're doing is just tightening the net, and putting the burden back on the
We're increasing the mesh.
tobacco retailers.
Because there's only,
Okay.
where can you buy cigarettes? You can buy Meals, Windmill.
This is going to cut out a lot of high school buying
There's
too.
six
Very
establishments in the city of San Juan Bautista that sell tobacco. Six 6 retailers in the city of San Juan Bautista. That's 6 that sell tobacco products. Yeah.
But have minors been buying tobacco at those operations?
Well, as the youth say, they know where to get the tobacco products. And as public health, we're not here to be punitive or, to put blame on any establishment, just to educate you on the fact that you are able to purchase tobacco products.
Well, I would vote adamantly to ban smoking in the city, because I think that's a problem.
That's next.
I know,
No.
but
Next agenda item.
passing a law that is already covered on the books to our merchants, it seems like an added burden to our businesses.
It's the mechanism for enforcement. The state does not enforce its own laws in this area.
I understand it, but it's our code enforcement guy that has to do it.
No.
We got that already.
The health department has money to enforce this law.
Not necessarily.
No, she just said that it'd be our code enforcement.
In Hollister, code enforcement takes
Right.
care of it. But they would enforce or investigate here.
Ideally, public health would like to leave it up to the local jurisdictions to govern their own city. If a situation was to arise, and again, the person that could conduct citation, has citation power, could be the city manager, it could be the city clerk, it could be anyone that's, pardon? A designee, anyone of that nature. We have no problem with that, with going out and conducting youth access, taking youth out and attempting to purchase, and reporting our findings to you, the city council, as to what stores sell or do not sell.
And then we would write the ticket, basically. That's what you're describing.
Yeah, we could.
So
we could
you're
go
doing
on-
you're doing the
we could do the
legwork.
labor of this.
So you would go to the stores and try to have someone underage purchase tobacco?
These youth that you saw today, that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have youth on our Youth Tobacco Education Coalition that go out and actually attempt to purchase. We utilize the Sheriff's Explorers. We utilize a whole bunch of different youth groups in our county in order to do this. And then we could report the findings to whoever at the city to actually write up the citation. Right.
Okay. And Roger, we could write a citation based on that information?
Once we pass this.
I think we'd have to actually see it. We'd actually have to be an administrative citation, but they could be challenged if we didn't witness it, so.
Yeah, and I think in the section here of 130, it says the compliance of this chapter shall be monitored by the code enforcement officer of the city, any peace officer, state health code enforcement officer, and any designated law enforcement agents of the city.
Could another path be for the city attorney to file a complaint based on the information generated by the task force?
I believe there's something in here about the operation being a nuisance, and if we had them judged a nuisance, then we could file a complaint on them. But you probably wouldn't want to do that. I mean, you'd want to do an administrative site and then get the funds to go back to the city and, have it all at the city level. That would be the most expeditious and, the most cost-effective for the city to do an admin site. And you can delegate the authority to another person to do admin site. It doesn't have to be Roger. You can delegate it to somebody else.
Yeah, because Roger's not that busy, He could run around and
Okay. So, with like ABC, they have, the laws get broken, and they basically have a list of the stuff that they do, and when it comes for reapplication, these things come up and either have to be addressed for them to complete their application again. And is this going to be a yearly process? So if we keep notes about who's selling to under 21, it could be, revoked.
Those are all provisions that are in here. I mean, that's
exactly.
all described
so as
in
they're all
detail.
covered for that, then I would like to go forward with that.
If I may give an example, in the city of Hollister, the Safeway kiosk was cited after it passed in 2006. They had to remove all of their signage, their tobacco products for 30 days, and also pay a fine as well. So.
Who was this now?
The kiosk at Safeway in Hollister.
Oh, okay.
Where you get gas.
Gas.
Thank you.
Okay. I read this kind of quickly, but I thought we could just fail to renew a license when it came up. I didn't see where we could actually revoke a license. Was that in here?
Oh, yes.
It is in
Yeah.
here? Okay. Is there any way that the adults supervising the youth that are attempting to make a purchase could, on our behalf, issue a citation to that retailer at that point?
Well, again, as public health, we see ourselves more as educators and preventing the issue from happening, not so much as citation power. We leave that up to the local jurisdiction to handle that piece. I mean, in the situation of smoking at restaurants and bars, we do have citation power for that, although we don't utilize it. It's just not what we'd like to do, pretty much.
Roger, does this, what do you think?
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Okay, you don't see this as,
No.
because I don't imagine you're going to spend a lot of time on this enforcement piece in San Juan with only 6
Right.
establishments.
So there's 43
Probably a couple of times a year.
Right, there's 43 stores in the county,
Uh-huh.
including River Oaks way out there,
Oh,
going
gotcha.
towards Watsonville. And so it takes us a half of a day to do the entire county, to map out the entire county with 14 youth and 7 chaperones. So for the city of San Juan, it would probably take us an hour.
20 minutes?
twice a year, you know?
Right. Okay. Okay.
Well,
So
what
that
we
could be
could do
one
is,
option. Yeah.
And you would give us the report, and then Roger could issue the citation?
We'll be more than happy to provide a report.
I don't think he can issue a citation for something he hasn't seen because it's a misdemeanor, not a felony. So that's why I asked about the complaint process.
Okay.
But what we could do is we could take these administrative reports and then we could examine that retailer's license at our level with an eye to revoking it. Not on the first time, of
Well,
course,
that,
but-
I don't think there's a provision for that here.
We already have the.
Somebody just said that we could revoke a license.
There's a process for
Process,
revocation based on how many citations in a period of time. It doesn't, it's not something that gets reviewed. I mean, it's not like it comes to us or some other board for review.
It goes, there's a thing, the first citation and the second violation, and the third violation,
Right.
and there's various fees and everything, but those citations has to be witnessed by somebody that the youth has purchased the tobacco products.
Okay, so that.
Well, that's what I was
creates a
saying,
problem for us.
that they have 2 youths go in, and they do have a chaperone. And if that chaperone sees that they sold cigarettes or whatever to that child.
That chaperone would have to be appointed as a citation.
Yes.
Right, and I hate to say it, but just with 1 hour twice a year, you might as well have code enforcement go out with them and witness the sale and
Yes.
et cetera.
That's an idea.
Okay, we'll have
Does
Rudy do
that
it.
seem reasonable to you?
Yes.
Yeah, you could send Rudy out with them or something, right?
Yeah, anytime you walk into a place where they sell that, and then he could be buying something else and then just observe, and then he's selling something to a youth and not checking the ID, then you witnessed it and you filed a complaint.
Is that, okay.
So,
I'd like to make a motion
Okay,
to
first,
approve this resolution. By
it's an
title
ordinance.
only. Ordinance, that's.
And it's a first reading and introduction.
Public comment?
Okay, no more questions? Do we have any speaker cards?
I'm all for it, but I think you should double the amount, $300 to pay for Rudy's time out there.
Well, I
Thank
think
you,
maybe the
John.
citation will cover that.
Anybody else want to make a comment on this subject? Okay, we'll bring it back. So we have a motion to adopt? No.
Introduce.
This is,
Introduce,
yeah,
first
first reading
reading
and
for-
introduction. Do we have a
By
second?
title only. A second?
Do we have a motion?
Chris
Yeah,
made
I'll
the
second it.
motion before we went to public comment.
okay, I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, roll call.
No.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Aye.
Mayor Edge?
Yes.
All members of the council, please listen to the
Ordinance number?
It's,
no ordinance number yet.
No,
Not yet, it's
okay.
first reading, right?
All right.
yeah,
And-
first
and
reading.
just read it by introduction and title only. An ordinance of the City of San Juan Bautista amending San Juan Bautista Municipal Code to add Chapter 5-28 requiring license of tobacco retailers.
Okay. Next three items are going to be pulled off the agenda and referred back to the Planning Commission for further study. So that's B, C, and D, an ordinance adding a section to the municipal code dealing with noise, another one dealing with home occupation business permits, and the third one relating to the D'Ambrosio tentative map, which is being considered to split into two phases instead of one. So those are all going back to the Planning Commission, so we won't be considering them. So we'll move to item 6B, consider contract for billing software.
And we'll continue that until the next
Continue,
meeting.
I like the way this is going. Okay, we'll continue that one. 6C, resolution establishing a water and sewer payment plan. Is that going to be continued?
Well, I think Trish, you
Trish
want
has-
to make a thing. She's the one that prepared this. And it basically, it is giving a 12% discount on water bills for people of limited income, 62 and older, and have to qualify for, and Trish will fill you in.
Well, I think over the past several council meetings, you've received a little information here, a little information there, as you sent me back to gather more information. And I brought down statistics from the census and from PG&E Care Program, how many people are on the program now. I think it's up to council to determine which direction they want to go with this, and you have a resolution. I think your concern was maybe during the budget process, Roger has presented you with the numbers of what kind of a hit it could be to our budget should all the people that are on the care program perhaps apply for a discount.
You say we got a resolution on this?
There
In
should
our
be a resolution
packet?
in your packet there.
There is a,
There is not, no.
it's not in our book, I know that. Did you put it out on the table
Oh,
tonight?
maybe I brought it, I'm sorry. I was dropping the resolution. Okay, I can get it, but I do have it developed, I just don't have it.
We can continue this until the next meeting.
Yeah, you know
I'm so
what?
very
I
sorry.
may have this material at home, but I may not, because
I
this-
didn't get it.
It wasn't an item that was completed, so I'd rather have all the material
Okay.
come back to us again when we're going
All
to
right.
make the
This one here?
decision. Oh, there's the resolution. Okay, where'd you find that?
It was at the end of the my packet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
At the very back?
It's not in mine.
I don't have it.
You're
Okay.
special.
We will continue this.
Yeah, I don't have it.
You guys put the candy
I thought
bar in
this
the
was going
box.
to be a
don't you?
long meeting.
Okay, so we'll continue this
Well,
one.
we can't really, I mean, we don't know what the cost is, and we got to
Yeah.
plug it into the budget anyway, so.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a concern
We
that
need
if
to see what
we,
the impact is.
that if we discounted some, that means the other people have to pay for it, and there was a problem with that? Did I miss-
It was mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need all the material
No, we-
collected again
Yeah.
and issued
And
to
I'll
us at
explain
one
that and
time.
everything. No, we're not going to jack the rates up for the other people. It's just that we're going to lose less revenue, and that revenue for you to do it has to come out of the general fund.
We're not gonna
Can't
compensate
come
the
out of the
discount.
It can't come out of the enterprise. 'cause
That's
then
right,
would
it can't come
yeah,
out of
I
the
got it.
enterprise fund.
I remember that now.
So we'll refer that to the budget process, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
We can talk about it at the 25th, and then it'll be back on your council in June the 21st.
Terrific.
Okay, so that takes us to D, consider approval of Youth Commissioner Advisor job description.
Didn't we do that? I thought we did that. at the
Did we?
last
I
meeting.
thought we did too.
Okay, so I wasn't at this part of the meeting last month, and I didn't have all the notes.
Sorry.
And with that, I didn't think that you had the job description in front of, that you have here now. It would just be, it
Yeah,
doesn't involve a resolution, it just goes along with our standard job description,
yeah.
and it has all the information that I was provided with, I believe, by the Strategic Planning Committee.
It'd be in the minutes if we passed it, right?
Yeah, well, and we have
We
the
don't
minutes
have the
here.
minutes yet.
Oh, we don't have the April minutes.
We don't have
I-
April.
Yeah,
I
we did
would-
this, we did this.
I think
We did it.
We did this.
I know we've
Yeah.
had this come up 2 or 3 times,
Yes, again.
Yeah.
so,
So this was passed at the April
Yes.
meeting? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
okay.
And there's nobody here for it, so.
Can't do it a second time. Okay, comments, city council.
There's
Chris?
actually 6E.
Wait.
There's one more item on
There's somebody
there.
out there.
E, consider strategic planning committee request for joint use agreement with, yes, and I did see your email in there, John, I'm sorry.
Okay, so, I was just chatting a moment ago with Louise, a longtime resident of our city, and we're having problems with Veruti Park, and this is a long way to get there, I realize that, with kids after school. And so this is a way of giving the kids after school something to do. What we want to do is establish a joint use agreement with the San Juan Aromas School District, or is it Aromas San Juan? I don't know which.
I think it's Aroma Center.
In this hall, it's San Juan Aromas.
Anyway, we want to have a joint use agreement so that parts of the school property with basketball courts, volleyball courts, and such can be open after school and on weekends, so not only youth, but people who want to shoot hoops, want to do volleyball, want to do this or that, ages 20, 30, 40, 50 can go do it. There's really not a lot to do.
What's the sound?
If you want to go shoot hoops, Tony?
You're
Are
done.
the, John, let me ask you this. Are those courts fenced off and you can't access?
Yeah, there is. There's an 8-foot fence.
I didn't realize that.
Or maybe it's a 7-foot fence. I haven't measured it. The bad news is it doesn't really stop the kids. So you might as well go get use agreement anyway. The kids can hop the fence.
God, when we grew
People my age have, it stops me dead in my tracks. Okay, I'm not going over that fence. But
You don't have a key?
When we were growing up in school, every school, including the high school, the basketballs were all outside and we played.
They're not. They are not. They are behind the fence. They are behind the fence. You can ask. There's several people who were on the school board at the time. Part of it was 9/11 happened and they were going to redo the fencing and then they redid it another way. There's been a lot of school shootings, as you know, across the country. Not here in San Juan, thank God, but across the country. And so the school board at that time thought the best thing to do is just fence off the entire school and kind of make it hard to get into. Like I told you, the 7th and 8th grade high school kids, they can hop the fence, so it's not a real detriment to them. But older people, it stops us.
I thought the original idea behind the fencing was liability. They were afraid somebody would
That's
get
what it
injured
did.
on school property
Yeah.
and.
Well, that's
The joint use agreement addresses that. doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what the joint. That's what the joint use agreement is to do. Is to
The joint use agreement would be is that then the city would have to be liable for that activity, and if we don't supervise it, then we are real liable if somebody gets hurt. And so we talked to our insurance guy today, and he says that if it's a school function and it's supervised, then it's covered under our insurance. But if we don't have anybody there, we can't cover school property.
Okay.
Okay, so
we can't do this then?
Not unless there's some agreement where they will provide the basic liability.
Well, I thought,
Because we can't insure and assume liability of school property if we do not sponsor and
John?
supervise an activity.
yes, no one told me that, number one. Number two, I thought that there's something called joint and several liability. The lawyer can either agree or disagree with me if she wants, but I would submit to you that both governmental agencies, the school district and the city, would be liable if a kid hops the fence on a Saturday and goes and breaks his leg doing something, maybe even hopping the fence. So I think you're both liable.
No, that would be the school.
No.
That would be the school, John. That would be the school.
Can we?
Sure, they'd be
It's their
primary.
property, you know.
Yeah,
So,
but,
Besides, the fences are to keep the
but,
kids in.
John?
yes.
I think
May
it's
I?
to keep them
Yes.
out.
So,
I really do.
the message here from the Strategic Plan Committee and the Youth Commission is that they need, the youth, we want to provide access to basketball courts and other organized play structure, not play structures, but courts, places for them to play organized sports. What the suggestion is, what they're asking us to do is direct staff to work with the school board, or the school administration, the school board, on a plan to get that to happen. That's all they're asking us to do.
Okay.
So, and I know you guys have had conversations. You've met, I think, with Ruben.
Ruben, yes.
Probably multiple times. I know this has been a topic of conversation. It's just, what they're asking is that we place a higher priority on it, because there's there's a lot of kids. I mean, we all walk, you drive through town, you see kids with basketballs all the time, and I don't know where they're playing it.
In the street.
They're playing it in the street.
playing it
I
in
can
the
rattle
square.
off, I think, 4 locations where people have hoops in the street.
We get a game going.
And, which we would be liable for, probably, potentially, if somebody gets hurt in the street. So anyway, I think, I personally would very much like to see this, be a more of a priority. And I know there's 1,000 things going on, but it's a conversation it would be wonderful to have this happen.
And the county does that. When I was on the Parks and Rec Commission, if we did some improvements, there was a joint use agreement. I don't know how the insurance worked on that, because it never came up, but
And I'd like to add one other thing. The city, or city residents, I should say city residents, already use the soccer field, which is entirely owned by the school district, as a city park right now. You drive by at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you see 4 people with the dogs and those little silly tennis balls on a stick that they throw. Those are not 6th and 7th graders walking those dogs, okay? Those are city residents or city visitors.
Sure.
So I'm going to suggest to you that we need a joint use agreement just for those activities which are already occurring.
Well, I think we need to look at it and see if there is a financial impact.
Yeah. And we're just, that's the problem is none of us have enough information. I, for one, would love to see this happen sooner rather than later.
And the county parks and the schools in the county do that. And so I don't know what the arrangement is, but we ought to.
Yeah, I don't either. And I will point out that it was one of the very first things that the Youth Commission prioritized when we formed that group. They immediately jumped on this issue. There's been conversations with the school board. Now it's just a question of connecting the dots, I think. I don't think anybody has an issue with it. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. We just need to sort out the mechanics, and that's got to happen at the staff
Prior
level.
to 9/11, when they did, was there a fence there?
I have no idea, didn't look here.
Actually, I know when the fence went up, is when we renovated the tennis courts at the same time. It was right after that Sandy Hook happening. And then they decided, they approved our tennis court renovation. At the same time, they put fences all around. So we had to work in gates to get into the tennis courts. So they were open to that. But I think what we're also looking at is a bigger picture. That is like the community park. I mean, if you really look at that soccer field, and we've got the restrooms, I'm sure you already have some kind of an agreement going with the restrooms, taking care of those. Because the community tourists stop and park in that parking lot, and they use those restrooms. I don't know if the city's cleaning them or what, but what my thought is communities, especially like San Francisco, what they're doing is they're taking back the schools. The cities are taking back the schools. They're utilizing them across the board. The schools using them, the community's using them, and in a community this size, we have to share. Because we don't want to be putting in another set of basketball courts. We don't want to be, what our plan is we'd like to put in some fitness equipment, but we can't do that unless, and this fitness equipment would benefit the community, it would benefit the students, it would benefit the tourists that come in, but we can't do that until the city and the school come together and work some kind of an agreement so that we all can utilize the park. And what we're seeing is a park that is a city school park because we want people to come to this community and enjoy it. And
it can be done.
And it can be done. And so there's some way, and right now it's just the conversation or just the meeting and trying to figure it out. But I recommend that you do that if you can, if it just makes, it makes sense for us because we have so many ideas for that park. And as soon as something's established, then we want to bring the community in and create a park that we're already doing a natural preserve on the creek area. We've got Fish and Wildlife involved. We've got PG&E involved. People are involved. They want to see a little park there. So if there's any way the council can
Somebody made the decision to fence it off. It was open before.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was wide open, and everybody used it.
According to our contact on the school board, they did consider moving the fences back or readjusting the fences so the courts could be open. Some of the courts could be open. And they said, no, not right now because of lack of money. So I'm thinking maybe that would be good for a community project, moving the fence from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's moving the fence. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, and we are liable for Rudy Park and the other parks, so.
Right. It's a park.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
So. Well, when you're not out checking for smoking, you can do.
Yeah, use the other 30 minutes for
I
that.
grew up on the basketball court on R.O. Hardin and high school and everyone, even when I was going to San Jose State, all of the schools around there, we'd go down and play all night long.
So
And they were always open.
Yeah.
So if you go to the library, Connie can show you the pictures of Roger in the high school yearbook. In his basketball uniform.
But
the colors are reversed, but
it's sad, it's sad that they're there. But we'll take a look at it, and then I'll get our insurance guy, and then I'll get together with Deborah and see what kind of liability we can hold.
Balloon you can do.
Well, I don't know if they're asking for that. That's one of the questions. Is just where
they are asking for insurance liability. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. But we have a liability at the other parks, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the subtlety is
figure out what we're working with.
For every tax dollar, 68% goes to the school. The city of San Juan only gets 3.8%.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll look into it and get back to us sometime.
I think it's a high priority because it should be made available.
I just don't think it's fair that the cutoff date is 50 years.
Yeah, think of 50, what about 60
Talk to
and
somebody
70?
else, John. Everybody on this council,
That's age discrimination, I believe.
I'm not 50.
well, you go play basketball.
Okay.
All right.
Still riding the hobby.
City council comments. Jim?
No, nothing. Yep.
Ron?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
No, sir.
Okay, city manager comments.
Just to let you know, we got a little grant from COG for the Abbey Park bus stop, and we're putting, I've got the specs, I designed the thing and I drew the specs up. We're gonna be out to bid, and then on the low bidder of the warm, we'll come back, and then you'll be granting the contractor to go in. It includes curb and gutter and sidewalk to finish all the way to 4th Street. Handicap ramps.
Wow.
Fantastic.
There, yeah, so it's gonna be a nice project, and the COG was gracious enough to give us a grant for it in the amount of about $47,000.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Kevin.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. City attorney comments? Nothing? Okay. Motion to adjourn, anybody want to?
So moved.
And by the way, you're non-smoking in the city.